answer in the chat. Type it, but do not send. Do not send. I would ask you a question. It's a one-word answer. Do not send. When it's time to send, I would tell you, and at that point in time, you will click. And then I would have, just the waterfall. It's called a one-word waterfall. I'll just have the waterfall of the words. That's what we want to do. Do not send. If you send, I will know that you are not a patriotic Nigerian, and I will report to your children that you do not listen to instructions. I give you do not send. And at the right time, I'll count down 3, 2, 1, then you send. Are we ready to go? Good to go? All right. So I want you to sum up in one word. In one word, sum up how you would describe the sessions you have had. Yeah, great to be here. Yeah. Hi, sis. I want you to sum up the past sessions in one word. What word would you use? Don't send yet. In one word, sum up the sessions we've had since Monday. Monday, we had, who came on Monday? Mrs. Adekwetu. Then we had Mrs. Kofua Kikugbe. We had Tara Durotoye yesterday. In one word, sum up how the past sessions have been to you. Now, are we getting ready? Don't send yet. Let me see if anybody is not following my rules. I'm a teacher. Are we ready? Don't send yet. In one word, sum up the past sessions that we've had since Monday. Okay. On the count of 1, you see, Mrs. Oyekome, you put it there in one word. I said, don't click yet. Okay, so I'm ready for you to click now. 3, 2, 1. Click. Awesome. Amazing, transformative, enlightening, insightful, inspirational, life-changing, awesome, exceptional, overwhelming, I guess in a good way. Go on. I want to say the deluge of words, inspiring, expository. Go on, go on, go on. Eye-opening. Lovely, lovely. I'm going to give this feedback to our the speakers. Exceptional, exquisite, beautiful, beautiful, transformative, lovely, lovely. I want to see more superlative, challenging, in a good way, I hope. Inspirational, honest, impactful. Such lovely words, such lovely words. And honestly, everything you've said, that's exactly how I feel. I feel so blessed. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. That's the word I love the most. Anything I do, I want to be associated with excellence. Exciting, superb, illuminating, life transforming. Awesome. Awesome. Well, honestly, and I want to say well done to you, especially those people who have not missed any day. I'm sure you've been, because they all have their own style, they have their own different lived experiences, and it's just been amazing. And they've all been so real, very authentic, mind-blowing, audacious, right? Beautiful, lovely. All right, so today will not be any different. Today we have Mr. Austin Okere. Now, before, he's in tech. So before I call him and bring him on, I'm going to do just one more quick thing I want you guys to do. He's in tech, right? So I want you to name a piece of old technology that you used to rely on. Any old technology that you used to rely on. Write it there. Let's see. Radio. Yes, Walkman. What else? Walkie-talkie. fax machine, DVD, Mr. Wani, Emeka Wani, typewriter, cassette player, Kodak camera. Yes, what are the old things? I think the millennials and the Gen Zs are thinking, I beg your pardon, rediffusion or something. Go on, go on, go. Organizer. Nintendo. You can see that's a millennial there. Floppy disk, gramophone. Honestly, things have changed so much, and technology just keeps evolving. Videotapes. Okay, I've seen the rediffusion. Right. Yahoo Messenger, record player, typewriter. Yeah. So it's amazing. See how things have evolved over the years. Are you evolving? Let me just quickly put that in. How are you evolving? Are you same old, or are you evolving? Technology evolves and it's getting better and better. Look at AI. Honestly, I wonder how we functioned without AI before. I just truly, I just always wonder, how did we do it? So now, Mr. Okere, how are you? Where are you, sir? Mr. Okere will be our guest today. As we all know, you're welcome, Mr. Okere. As you
Yeah,
all
thank you
know,
much.
it's good to have you. It's really beautiful to have you here today. What I try not to go over the bio of people because all my guests are they're well known, and they've been able to prove themselves in their own different industries. And honestly, I don't want to take too much time out of the little time we have. So we're going to put your bio in the chat. Please, we're putting it in the chat. As many people as want to know more, and I'm sure you all want to know more about him. He's there. Oh, the information is there in the chat. Hey, Mrs. Lawson, Miss Lawson, it's right there in the chat. So please go there and check. But I'm going to introduce him briefly. Before I do, Mr. Okere, I like to put my guests on the spot a bit for us to relax as well. Mr. Okere, what one app can you not live without? One app that you can't live without?
Email.
Okay. All right. Nigeria or Ghana?
Both.
Because I know, I believe that you have interests in both places and other places as well. Mr. Okere, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Be humble.
Be humble. I love that. I love that. Okay. In three words, how would you describe your leadership style?
Servant leadership.
Lovely. Servant leadership. Okay, great. Now, last question. What's one skill every professional should master, in your opinion? One
Ability
skill.
to learn new things.
Ability to learn, to be a learner. Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So we're gonna start. Mr. Okere is a friend of the family. My husband, my husband, have the last year when we had this summit, I had Mrs. Ibukwawo Shikandidin Wuneli Nekawiyeli Ikpe, we had Yemisi Edu, and then people said, how come there was no man at all? So I thought, really, that's true. So this year, because we are listeners, this year I thought, who will I bring on? Of course, apart from my husband, who taught me about business anyway. And then I just looked and I thought, honestly, there was just no other person better to speak to us on business, on leadership, given your track record. Mr. Okere, we're so honored to have you here today. Mr. Okere is briefly the founder of CWG PLC, and also Leadership Academy. He's a technology leader and a digital transformation advocate. So you're welcome to this summit.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Okere. How are my people doing? Me and the brother, your wife.
We are still loyal to Meadowhall.
You are still loyal. Thank you. So, Mr. Okere, I'm just going to let you tell us your story. We want to hear your story. We want to know, when we were talking about this yesterday, Miss Ekpeyong, she was the head teacher at that time. She's the director of studies in Meadowhall right now. She said, oh, I can't wait to hear from Mr. Okere because you remember CWG, even those, 20-something years ago. So we want to listen to you, we want to learn from you. We want to know how you have been able to transition from that maybe limited liability company that CWG was to a PLC, leadership, succession, from ideation, how you have sustained your company to succession. We want to hear from you. Over to you, sir.
All right. So to start with, Kenny, just call me Austin.
Austin, okay.
Yes. Just call me Austin. And just for the records, the first price list that I got when I was starting CWG, I got it from Mr. Andy Nwane. I don't know if you know him.
I think so.
I went to his office in Surulere and I said to him that I wanted to start a company that I didn't know where to start from. He told me about a company in America called America Microcomputer Center. And he said, here is their price list, here is their number. A gentleman of gentlemen. And I forever hold him that gratitude.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Where do I start from? And how many minutes do I have to tell this story? Because I don't know if you're going to ask me questions.
I will. I'm going to leave. I won't interrupt for about maybe 30 minutes. Please just go ahead and tell them thereabout. I would maybe ask some questions.
All right. So my story is very simple. I started after I graduated in computer sciences from the University of Lagos. I actually did transfer from the University of Ghana to the University of Lagos to start part one. Because I was born in Ghana, went to school in Ghana until Rawlings took power, and he closed the universities because we went on a rampage. And after that, the universities didn't open for a long time. I remember that I was also Nigerian, so I came to LAG to start part one. Graduated and went to my youth corps at NNPC. Actually, in Farlomo then, that MTN building used to be an NNPC building. And I did quite a lot. For instance, when we were doing prices and trying to set the price, they had collected all the surveys. And I remember that I was sent as a youth corper to Ahmadu Bello University to go and use their SPSS statistical package to analyze the data. I went with my boss, Mrs. Ezekwe. So right from the beginning, I think I'd showed that I could handle responsibility. I joined a company on Awolowo Road, one of the big IT companies, after my youth corps. I actually did a stint in a small company in Ikeja for about 9 months before I joined this company that is one of the large companies. And I was actually making good progress. I was in sales, which is not what I wanted, but that's what I got. And I've still been in sales since then, making good commission. But there was a challenge. And the challenge was that I felt I was burning my goodwill. Why was I burning my goodwill? The salesman goes and the customer gives him order based on trust. He takes the order to his company and he believes that the company will deliver the order to the customer. For some reason, our company was part of a large group. So financial decisions were taken at the group level. And the customer's advance payment was applied to trade, to maximize profit. So we kept telling customers stories about when your goods will arrive. And, technology is very highly obsolescent. By the time the goods arrive, they're almost obsolete. And I did that for 4.5 years, and I felt I could do better by myself, try to differentiate based on trust with the customer so that the customer will see me as a partner rather than a supplier. It was easier said than done, because after I left my company, many of the companies that I had as customers, I couldn't even go past the reception. Once you drop the badge, that's it.
Absolutely.
So I now had to cultivate my own customers. Anyway, in doing that, I learned from brass tracks how to build relationships. I learned that relationships are built on trust, and trust is a currency of brand. Brand is built on character, integrity, and consistency. Consistency is extremely important because once you break that once in terms of trust, it's almost very difficult to get that back. We grew the company from myself to 6 people to today 400 people. How did we do that? What we did was to say, let's treat everybody like an owner, and make sure that everybody is carried along, understands the vision is extremely important because that's the North Star which you want to be going towards. Our purpose, which is what got us out of bed, was quite simple. We thought that our purpose then was to take the burden of technology off the customer so that the customer could focus on their core competencies. So if we went to Meadowhall to provide technology solutions, it's so that Meadowhall do not inadvertently start a big IT department, and they can focus on learning that they can give to our kids, knowing that their technology is safe with us. And that worked very well. In fact, because of that, even though we started as a hardware company, the customers drew us into communications and drew us into software. They wanted us to handle their projects as a single source. So things went well, but there were challenges. I think some of the challenges will be inconsistent regulatory environment and policy decisions. I remember that when we started, you ordered goods and you delivered them because they've been inspected at the port here in Nigeria. They apply a duty, you pay, you go and deliver. One fine day, we woke up and the government says, there will be no more source inspection. There will be no more destination inspection, which means inspection should be done before the goods are loaded onto the vessel or the plane. Meanwhile, we had goods already that were in transit. And when you make such a rule, there's nothing wrong with it, but there's a need for time to clear the channel. That wasn't done, as always, effective immediately. And we actually nearly lost our company because we had built a relationship with ExxonMobil such that we're bringing a huge consignment of specialized equipment which we're going to use on a rig. And the equipment not being on the rig means that they were losing $100,000 per day that the rig is not working. I took a big loan, sort of a roll of go wrong, ExxonMobil. But now my goods are stranded. And ExxonMobil gave me a deadline and they say, we like you and all that, but guy, 100K per day, by such a date, we'll cancel the order and we'll bring by ourselves. Of course they could, but it's because of the local patronizing laws that made it that they should buy from local companies such as ours. Downcast, I was going home when, by divine providence, I saw one of my friends who was a group captain who remained nameless. And he asked me what was the problem, because I really looked like someone who was broken. I told him my story, and he said, okay, let's go to Nako Shed. So these goods came by air. And the group captain managed to get paperwork done retroactively. I was able to clear the goods. I think it was on a Friday. I got two trucks, loaded the goods, went to ExxonMobil. And that Monday, the Friday was my last day of which the order will be canceled. The gate man said at Mobile, after all that I went through, okay, we have closed delivery. Delivery closed by 3 o'clock. Wow. I was trying to explain to him the import of, delivering these goods. 100,000 is being lost per day. He would not hear anything. So the truck was parked in front of their gate. I told the driver to disappear, which he did. So nobody is going in, nobody is going out, commotion. And that helped because eventually it got to the higher levels that there is the computers that was needed at the rig, and I was able to deliver them before the order was canceled. But that was very close, Kenny. There's another example that I can give you out of many more, but maybe this will suffice. We went into the ATM business quite big with our partners from Germany called Wincor, and we became a leader in that business. We got so many orders, and they're huge machines, so we bring them by boat. And on the way that the goods were coming, I had now, 2 huge containers of Wincor ATMs. And the CBN announces that banks will no longer be able to deploy ATMs outside of their branches. I said, gosh. Well, anyway, these goods were brought on order. So some for stock, but mostly on order. A week later, I started getting cancellation orders from the banks saying force majeure, where we had planned to deploy the ATMs, we cannot deploy it again. And why? The CBN had an idea of a body called ATM Consortium, which would deploy ATM outside bank branches. So here I was sitting with huge stock of ATMs in my warehouse, inventory costs, I was paying the loan interest, and I didn't even know where these ATMs were going. This time around, there was no guardian angel, no group captain. No group captain. So it occurred to us that, wow, firstly, let's go and look for this company called ATM Consortium. That didn't work because they had their own partners that they supply their ATMs. Then we went to the banks and we said to the banks, you know what? You don't have to buy the ATMs. We will give you the ATMs. Tell us wherever you want to deploy new branches or so on. Don't buy it. And then we can share revenue. And that was even proved to be more profitable, than selling ATMs. This moved very slowly out, but at least we saved our company. And at the time that they reversed that rule that banks should not deploy ATMs outside their branches, there was a rush for ATMs. Guess what? We were the ones that had it on the ground. And people thought, oh, Austin Okere is a genius. No, not at all. It was just providence. We almost lost our company. So those are the challenges that we faced. Other challenges would be the skill sets, and especially when there's competition for those skill sets. So we came from a military regime in 1993. They canceled the elections in 1993. We started our company in 1992. Elections were canceled in 1993, and we had the military regime. So the major companies were not interested in coming into Nigeria. But after the democratic era of OBJ,
Mm.
there was a lot of economic opportunity. So the partners now started coming in directly, be it Oracle, be it Dell, and they became our competitors, not only for customers, but also for staff. And when they multiply their dollars into naira, we cannot compete. You know, the young people who've been loyal sit in front of me and, they're trying to bring up a subject, but they don't know how to do it. And they say, oh, guy, you know what? I would like to stay, but here is the offer I've gotten. I don't know how we can do it. I look at the offer, it's times 8. Where do I start from? So I say, let's say the person's name is Kenny. I pray for Kenny and I say, may it be well with you. And then, the good thing is that a lot of our people that left now were still loyal to us. So they helped us in any way they could. But that now forced or compelled me to start what we call the CWG Academy. And that CWG Academy, we just brought in anybody but anybody and took them in, and then we impacted them for 3 months. Practically, at the end of 3 months, we put them on projects. You cannot tell the difference between them and staff. We were sending them to project sites. And that was how we were able to solve that problem of consistently losing staff. In fact, when we set up the academy, the rate at which staff were leaving was greatly reduced because people knew that as you were leaving, somebody was there to take the management.
Yep.
So that was very, very helpful. And that academy was the idea that I used to set up the Also Leadership Academy. But CWG has gone through many trials. The whole idea is that this is a company which is agile and adaptable.
Yep.
If a company is agile and adaptable, it has the chance to succeed. But if a company is successful but does not anticipate that what worked yesterday may not work tomorrow, then they may not succeed. So CWG has gone through many phases of transformation. And today, CWG is very different from the company that we started. Just the spread, the turnover, the products. So going into more of intellectual property products than reselling, which we christened as CWG 2.0. To show our commitment to that, we built a tier 4 data center for our products, and we also host other people's products in that. But sometimes success can also lead you into going too fast. Speed is not efficiency. You have to be clear about the direction before you move fast. Moving fast in the wrong direction you are worse off than staying where you are. So CWG 2.0 was successful, very profitable, but we had not grown it in volume to carry our fixed costs coming from the legacy that we're coming from. And we quickly started rejecting orders because the orders from the legacy business, the margins were thin. What we have forgotten was that you could use high volumes to mitigate thin margins. And now we have to go back to the same people to beg them for those hardware orders. And at the end of the day, it was a mix of the legacy business plus the new business, which was the way it should have been, and then slowly phased out the legacy business, which is what we did. But I think sometimes when you're in a hurry to do things too quickly, you may find that you've left out some huge gaps. So that also almost killed us. Today, we're very happy because we are able to live the life of a leader in our industry. We have what we call the Tech Excellence every year, where we bring all the industry companies from oil and gas and banking and so on to share a roadmap of where technology is going. We don't limit the people that come. So sometimes our competitors also come. It's very popular. And that is part of what we give back to the community.
Mm.
We've gone on to a very strong localization drive, knowing that it's difficult for our customers to get Forex. So you see that a lot of the microfinance banks cannot afford the expensive core banking applications, such as Finacle, which we also offer, and is a dominant core banking application. So we've developed something for them, and they can use it to provide financial inclusion.
Mm.
I think at the end of the day, if you ask me, the thing that I will do the same is build a business and differentiate it by trust and build relationships that become partners rather than transactions that you gain from on one off. And I'll give one example and I'll stop there. So the difference between relationship and transaction is as follows. The same ExxonMobil, we got part of a large order, but we're not the only ones. Other people also got. A lot of people, when they buy their computer, the mouse. At that time, it was not automatic. The mouse was newly being introduced. So when we ordered the systems for ExxonMobil, they'll ship them along with a mouse for each computer. And I remember that when we went to deliver the systems, the computer manager said, "Oh, very agitated. I didn't order mouse. I'm not going to pay for mouse." Very agitated. And I said, "Yes, I know that you didn't order mouse. I'm not charging you for it. It's a promo by the manufacturer." The guy almost fell into his chair. He said, that many of the companies that came did order change requests and they charged for the mouse and he'd gotten fed up. So he didn't know that they were a promo and those companies didn't tell him that they were a promo. As a result of that, we became more or less the de facto supplier of Dell systems to ExxonMobil. And that are some of the things that help to grow our company in leaps and bounds. So yes, there's a difference between transaction and relationship. And I would like to stop there in a minute because I don't know what questions you're going to.
Thank you so much. You've shared, just very, very clear, very simple explanation, and so many nuggets to take from what you've said so far. Some of the things I've written down, you've emphasized a lot on relationships. And I think sometimes as business people, we neglect that. Our focus usually is maybe on the bottom line, getting things done and things like that. But you've emphasized relationship, trust. I love what you said. You said trust is the currency of brands. Because if you're going to be a brand, it must be a brand that is trusted. People trust you. And part of that is when they see consistency in what you do. I love the fact that you mentioned the visions. Our vision is our North Star, isn't it? It guides us, it leads us. It's like that star, when Jesus was born, you look at it and it leads and guides you. And you've mentioned purpose. The purpose is what gets you out of bed. For some of us, we're still trying to find out. Some of the people on the platform, because I have, different people here, younger, older, what is my purpose? So I'm going to please, I will ask, you can note that down. I would still like you to say a little bit more about that. How did you know what your purpose? How did you know you were going to go into technology? Has it always, you studied computer science? Was it because it was the available course or you're so much into that? I will come to that. Please just note that question. But talking about vision, purpose, and it's very clear. You mentioned what I've called customer validation, because yesterday, Tara Durotoye also said it. She was offering certain services and products, and then the customers would say, how about this? How about that? And I think you also mentioned that how they were asking for certain things, and so you knew that. So it's almost like you already you've done some kind of research, market research in a way, knowing what people would need. Government regulations, and honestly, I think Bumi Lawson mentioned that, and I love that. Government policy changes are made without an impact assessment. It is so, it's one of the things we struggle with in Nigeria. You know, government will just change things, regulations will just change without any thought to the people in the particular business. And you've mentioned that, you know, and I thought, honestly, the ATM example, and I love the fact all my speakers have mentioned a divine providence. You know that God brought the captain on that day. God brought the captain. None of the people I've spoken with has said, you know what, you know, it's just me. None of them. So providence, another sort of person, Fawcett, I know how she says, providence is opportunity meeting preparation. So you've talked about divine providence. I think it's key. I think it's key that we understand that we need God. Wisdom, I've put here resilience when you told your driver to disappear. That is tenacity. That all of us were going to be here today. You found a way. And I also think, to be honest, is also part of creative thinking, you know, critical thinking, crisis resolution. What do I do? And you were able to think of what to do in that instance. You talked about staff. In fact, for me, once I hear, I want to see you, when they come in and they sit down, it's like, I just first of all want to thank you for everything you have done. Okay, what's next? What's next? Once I hear, I just want to thank you, all that. So I know, and of course, all of us in the past, especially after COVID, you know, the Jackpot syndrome and relocation thing. But also what you did is similar to what we have done as well when you set up the academy, because more or less training people up, training them, you know, and then you're able to make sure that you replace staff that leave easily, and they're well trained, they understand your system. So I'd really like that being agile and adaptable, it's non-negotiable in the 21st century. That we talk of agile leadership style now and all that, because you must be able to, the turnaround must be quick and all that. So going too fast, a huge lesson. When our burn rate, when we're just, you know, by the time, maybe sometimes we then run out of cash. And then you're like, God, what do I do here? So that is also a major thing. And today you're a leader in that space. Before you answer the question I talked about, the vision and the mission, I'd like the audience, can you please put in the chat one lesson you're taking right away from Mr. Okere? Mr. Okpeson, critical thinking and flexibility, agility to pivot turns threats into opportunities. Absolutely. Someone says servant leadership. Can you please put in the chat what lesson? Yes, wisdom is profitable to direct. Speed is not always efficiency. Absolutely. Absolutely. Move beyond your fear. Strong will, honesty, integrity. Love this. Please keep it going. Let's see. Tenacity to succeed. Not giving up. Yeah. Trust is the currency of the brand. Beautiful. Growth mindset. Relationship beyond transaction. Trust is the currency of brand. Ability to think out of the box. Resilience and not compromising one's vision and integrity. Courage. Relationship. Carry your workforce along. Adaptability. Resilience. Beautiful. Lovely. We can see transaction versus relationship. What do we do as leaders? Success can create momentum, but be wary of moving too fast. Trust as this is the currency of your brand. Beautiful. I keep it going. I want to see what you're There's no point being here if you are not learning. Relationship management, servant leadership, adaptability. Lovely. Speed, not efficiency. Transparency is key. Lovely. Thank you so much. So thank you for that, everybody. Mr. Okere, please speak to visions, purpose, and all that, number one. Then I would like you to then move into succession planning. But even before succession planning, what are I think you've mentioned a bit of it, the internal workings. How do you structure your business to ensure that it continues to deliver, to thrive, and to be efficient and effective? And then succession. What are your plans for succession?
Okay. So let me start with succession. Please, if I forget anyone,
okay, I'll bring you
remind
back.
me. And don't forget to call me Austin and not Mr.
Austin.
I feel like an ancestor.
Austin. All right.
Nigerians say ancestor. Ghanaians say ancestor. So I think succession planning is one thing that we can adapt to have many large companies that become institutions. Globally, many companies start as family businesses, whether it's Guinness, whether it's JP Morgan, but the path to institution is through succession planning. I think success is measured by succession. And it's difficult to say you were successful, you had a company, it thrived, and after you left, the company died after you. That success is a bit questionable. Succession planning is at two levels. Let me speak extensively about succession planning, if you permit me.
Yes,
so
please.
Succession planning is at the titular level, which is we, the founders. Because as a founder, there is a relationship between when you are adding value and when the diminishing returns start. It's like if you look at a mango fruit, when it starts, it's small, then it starts growing big, but it's green, and then it's nicely ripe. There is a time where it's perfect to be plucked. And if it continues to stay on the fruit, it's taking nutrients, but it's now getting rotten. And the more until it falls down, a rotted fruit, nobody can use it. It's not good for the founder to leave when it's still green and there's still a lot to do. But it's a certain point at which the founder says, I have lived my vision. Somebody else I will carry on my shoulder who can see further based on his generation. We're talking about radio, Walkman. People say, oh, this tech guru. Sometimes I still call my son to help me with one or two things. And he's looking at me. And he said, why do people call you a tech guru? You can't just do this common thing. And so the founder should prepare broad shoulders on which to lift the next leader, to see further, to see before, to see more, craft another vision, and with another team, youthful and exuberant, to deliver that vision. And then it repeats. Once you cut it and it doesn't repeat, you've cut the life blood of that company, and that company will not pass first generation. Why do the founders not leave? The founders do not leave because they haven't found what else to do. I believe that our life as founders is in two portions. You chase commercial success, and then you achieve it. What comes after that? Or you chase a commercial payout, you achieve it. What comes after that? It's cultural success. So commercial payout is where you are feathering your nest. Everybody needs to be comfortable if you can work hard to be that. But beyond the point, you've got so much that making more doesn't add or subtract. So you now want to look at how to then give back, not to take money and be dashing it out. But what is that pet project that can bring value to mankind? And if you don't have that, the next thing to go to, it becomes very difficult to leave. And if you see the founders who have successfully transited and put in a succession or a successor is because they had something else to go and do, which is bigger in magnitude, even if not commercial. So for me, the Also Leadership Academy aligns with what excites me, what makes me up. That is shared prosperity. How does the Also Leadership Academy transit to shared prosperity? Through the Also Leadership Academy, I'm able to mentor business leaders and entrepreneurs so that they can optimize their business. So doing, grow the business, create more jobs, employ more people, and then we have shared prosperity. And every founder must have and find their path of passion where they can go after they leave, because at one point in time, they have to know that they are going to leave. But I also said that succession is on more levels than just the titular head. In every company that wants to be sustainable, for every key position, we need to find a certain succession plan. It could be that the person that could be the succession to that key person is not in the company. They will make a plan that, all right, we need to start looking at how do we bring that person in so that we are not constrained. If anything should happen to that person, he can be called to become a special assistant. Nowadays, everybody is a special assistant or senior special assistant. So if he is called to become a special assistant, then what do you do? But then you also don't have all the money to put in all the compliments. So there's something that I would like to explain to the audience. It's called ITH. What has it got to do with succession? Usually, you are employed for a skill. That's your skill you come into the company with. Maybe accountant. And many people do not add anything. They will come in with the one skill and they'll retire on that one skill. It's better to be a T person, which means I came in with my accounting skill or my finance skill, if you're working in a technology company, but I've added knowledge of technology. So you're a T person. When they come to you with proposals, you are able to look at the technology of it and say, okay, great, it's a viable project from a point of knowledge. It's even better to be an H person. Many of the successful CEOs, they have one skill that they came in with, usually sales. They will add finance to it, and they'll add technology to it. So you're an H person. That way, if Kenny is not there and she's the accountant or the salesperson and I'm finance, because I know a little bit about what she does, I can cover for her until we can fill that gap. Not that we say, oh, Kenny is not there and so we can't do this thing until tomorrow or next tomorrow until whenever Kenny comes. There are some people that are square people. They have 4 skills. They have technology, they have sales, they have finance, and they probably have another one going across, could be engineering, knowledge about engineering, not necessarily deep of it. So a good example will be, I'm not sure I like him so much, but if you take Elon Musk, we call him a full circle. There's no place where one skill starts, another one stops. It's just multi-skilled. But I hope you use it for good.
For good.
So that is my experience of succession. The founder must prepare himself knowing that he's going to leave, to hone the passion that is going to go to after he leaves. We must fill the gaps below the titular head that are key positions. I must encourage people to be more than an I person. Minimum should be a T person. H person better. A few people are square, and if you can be all round like Elon Musk, why not?
Why not? Thank you so much for that. As a lot of people know, succession planning is my passion, and it's my lived experience. And you're so right. I think, as you said, it's because people are thinking, what next? What next for me? But the funny thing is, if you actually practice succession planning, it gives you the opportunity to do more, to express yourself in so many other ways. But when you have not identified, your whole identity is tied to that business, then you don't want to leave. And when you talk about the founder and also the key roles, building that leadership pipeline. It's not, most people think when we're talking succession is only about the owner. No, it's about every key role in your organization. So, and I also feel why most people don't want to leave is also they haven't built structures, which will take me to the next question I asked. People have passions. Maybe they start a business because they know that, okay, I can make money from this and things like that. They do not bother building structures, system structures that would sustain the business. So the business continues to run efficiently and effectively. So when you haven't done that, you cannot leave. You can't leave. I give examples of when you're at a meeting, maybe you're on a training, and then you see business owners. Most of the time they're on their phone. And I just laugh to myself that this person thinks they're forming important. Oh, I can't live. They're always calling me. It shows that you have failed. Because if you cannot be out of your office and things will not run, it's a problem. So I think when you lack structures, you haven't put structures in place, then you cannot leave and they're bound, they remain small. That's what I say. So structures, sir. Structures. What kind of structures have you put in place that gives it the ability to even move aside and do more things, and express yourself in so many other ways?
So that is one area where we tend to be weak, and that helps us. Let me call it governance. Let me call it governance, because it is in the governance structure that you are able to define the standard operating procedures, that you're able to define how this is done. And a simple governance is that there should be sort of a maker checker. When we start our companies, we're all powerful. But being all powerful means that you can make a mistake in an all powerful manner. There's nobody to say, Austin, have you had a second look? Or Kenny, hey, because when you say we move, everybody follows. And that's why part of the governance is either a board or an advisory board. An advisory board, if you are not ready for a board because you do not feel that you are at a point where you want to sacrifice speed, So, but advisory board, you are not bound by what they say. They will just advise you. I'm on the advisory board of the Global Business School Network. So the business schools are accredited by this body. And they ask me, based on my experience, based on the also Leadership Academy, based on my knowledge of emerging markets, technology, entrepreneurship. I'm an entrepreneur in residence at Columbia Business School. They ask me, but it's not binding. But when you get to the point where the business is of critical mass and of importance to the economy, then you need a board. Because when you are in the business, what you see is not the same as somebody who is looking over on the business. Working in the business is different from working on the business. Because working in the business, you are soaked in 80% of the time. That board member that is overlooking, he is seeing the gaps. And so they provide the guardrails, they provide the oversight, they provide the guidance, but it is binding. And when you talk about structures, it's also important, for instance, in the HR to have a system of grading.
Absolutely.
I don't employ Kenny, I like Kenny. Okay, 250K for you, Austin. All right, 100K for. There's no structure of, okay, what exactly does this box contain? What does that one contain? How do you move from here to there? Even your own remuneration as a founder, how is it determined? That's why you have the board committees. So the board nominations and remunerations committee will fix the salary of the EXCO.
Yeah.
You will get all the money you want from your dividend. But remember that one day you will leave this seat.
Mm.
And you have made it so amorphous that the next person after you will just be taken as you were taken. And there's nothing you can do because you've set the precedence. But if you have a salary, he comes and he falls into the salary. Obviously, inflation and so on will apply. So his salary will probably be increasing. But you get your fruits from the dividend, which is better. With some people, there is no demarcation between their boss, madam's hairdresser, or gas cars, going to watch Arsenal Football Club in London. You just sign from the company. But pay yourself enough so that you can do all that, but have an amount so that when the next MD comes, the next ED comes, they have a structure. That is where the company falls. But for a young company, it feels in a different manner. For a very young company, it feels right from the partnership. There is what I call roles, responsibilities, and rewards. Kenny, you and I are going to form a business. Maybe we'll have a third person with us. Oh, it doesn't matter. Who takes this? Oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, who is the first among equal? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Now, there is no definition of roles. There is no definition of rewards. There's no definition of responsibility.
Yeah.
And it will lead to quarrel.
Yeah.
The reason why we say it doesn't matter is those discussions are difficult. But they are better had at the beginning because when the time goes on and the company is growing bigger and making money, it becomes almost impossible to have that discussion. And so you see that many companies collapse because the structure was not there even in the beginning. But we say, Austin, you are going to be the MD. The two of us are going to be the EDs. Austin, you get the corner office. You know, this is your role. You are going to handle the hustling part of business. Kenny is going to handle the technology side. And then Andy is going to handle the financial side. That's a nice tripod. And then we'll fill the gaps. Okay, what about when we're at a crossroad? How do we do? Do we do by vote or do we go by what? So put in this structure. Please do. Please do. Don't be shy to discuss this thing.
That is absolutely, because the governance is so important and maybe will dictate a lot, but it's also those things that people fail to put in place. And we say that there will always be systems in place. It might be a bad one, but it's a system. If there are no procedures, processes, workflows being clear, everything being clear, and as well as your corporate governance in place. But I feel that, as you said so eloquently, that is the weakest area. A lot of us just gloss over that aspect, and we put in money. We just go about the day-to-day, the operational stuff, forgetting that without a solid structure, that business will not thrive. Which is why all the research that says most companies, only 5% last for a long time because most businesses just fizzle out. All right, so the very last thing I had asked before, but just so that we can round up with that, and then please put your questions in the chat so I can also ask your questions. Vision and purpose, sir. Austin, how were you sure that this was the path for you? And I know you train on leadership as well. So how are we sure that this is what we're supposed to do? Questions, I'm waiting. Yes, please go ahead.
I actually have to again say divine providence. I didn't set out to read computers. I didn't. I went to school in Ghana, as I said. There were 3 universities: University of Science and Technology, Kumasi, University of Ghana in Legon, and the University of Cape Coast. The one was education in Cape Coast. Legon is medicine and law. Then engineering is science and technology. After I did so well in my O-level in Ghana, I then had to go through A-level to even smell a university. I mean, here you can go with something people call JAM. No. So I can't even tell you my A-level results. It was so terrible. I got rejected for anything of consequence. And I'm not saying that what I got to read was not of consequence, but it was not my passion area at all. I got into agric. I wasn't going for the lectures. I was managing to pass my exam. And one day, the dean called me and said, young man, yes, you've passed on the borderline, but your attendance doesn't meet the mark. So you have to leave the department. And if you leave the department, it means you're leaving the school. You have to go and clear your things from your room. We had one room to yourself. I just imagine myself going back home and then do what? So my steps, I think when I'm desolate, my steps echo it. The man called me back and he said, listen, I know you're not interested in this course. There's somebody that may need this space. There is a new department that is starting in the mathematics faculty. It's called computer science. Here is a note. Go and see Professor Odum and see if he will have you. I think you are more technology. So I went and Professor Odum offered me to read computer science. Kenny, I took to it like fish to water. And that's how I discovered my path. It's been my purpose. So in CWG, our purpose was very deliberate. And it was big from the beginning. Initially, I said, we're going to take your technology burden from you so that you can focus on your business. Over time, we have polished it. So it's now to position Africa to maximize the future. So we are Africa focused, we are future focused, and we are maximizing, But then, having said that, what then is my North Star? What is our vision? And it's been there for a very long time to be the most preferred technology solution company coming out of Africa. Again, emphasize Africa. And then you have those values, which we hang in the boardroom, we never need it. There's no point hanging in the boardroom if it's not hanging in your heart.
Absolutely.
The long and short is that we are a team which is united by a strong set of values. We act with integrity and we live by example. So anybody coming into the company, if you know you can't abide by these three things, then don't bother. Some people come, they don't last 3 weeks or 4 weeks. They're asking, where is Odu? Because there's some companies that there must always be Odu. And when they don't see Odu, I don't believe that Odu will help us. In the beginning, it will help. But whenever the person you are doing Odu in that company leaves, you have enemies already, or you start all over again. And also, it's taking a lot of the margins away. There's no receipt. You don't even know whether the salesman is delivering or not. And then it drops the culture because the salesman is living much better than his salary. And other people are seeing him and say, but what about us? So they also start looking for their own Odu, and so we don't have that. And people say, I can't sell without it. And we say, well, then this place is not for you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to just take 2 questions. I have a very short video on persistence or perseverance that I'd like to show at the very end of this. So these 2 questions, someone says, what would you do differently if you were starting out tomorrow? In a very, very few words, as in answering it still, so that I don't want to take too much of your time. And so what would you do differently if you were starting out tomorrow, Austin?
I would have liked to have met someone who would have told me these 3 things. So I'm telling you, write it. I would have liked to have met someone. I call it the Austin's 3 W's model for success. The first one is willpower.
Willpower. Willpower.
Not will, W-A-Y, willpower.
Oh, way. Okay,
willpower is learning your way. That is not learning something, but learning how to learn so that you can be agile, you can be adaptable. Because only the adaptable survive. But whatever you say you are, make sure you are the best in it. If you say you're a school that's running like Meadowhall, make sure that when they call top schools, Meadowhall is there. Whatever competence that will put you there, do it.
Yep.
The second one is willpower. The second W is willpower.
That's the W-I-L-L now.
Correct. That's the resolve to keep going even when you stumble. You know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. I think it was Will Smith. Fall down 7 times, stand up 8. Just that corner could be where your light is. And the third and final one is weight power.
Okay.
Weight power speaks to patience. having the patience to see what you have planted go to fruition, and then you can sell at the fruit. A lot of our founders, they want to raise Series A, Series B, Series D, they sell at the seed. And then wait for it to grow and sell bountiful at the fruit.
Absolutely.
Willpower, weight power.
Weight power. Lovely, lovely. Thank you. And then did you ever have challenges with competition? That'll be the last one today, but we're going to collect these questions. As I said, tomorrow we're going to do a lot of question and answer as well. Did you ever have challenges with competition, Austin?
There was a time when we were competition focused and we were reactive. But you realize that the sky is big enough for all the birds to fly. Nigerians will say, follow your lane. Be the best at what you do. And then you will be found. Have a good brand. Someone is the best at what they do, but you cannot trust them. Taylor knows fantastically, but he is disappointing. When he says he will deliver on Sunday, you deliver next week. So even though he's the best tailor, people will come to you because your word is your bond. That trust, if you live in Nigeria, trust me, differentiate by trust and be good at what you do. Those combinations cannot fail you.
Lovely. But I also hear that it's good to know what your competitors are doing. Not that, just it's like when you're having a relay race or something, you just with the corner of your eye, you're looking at if somebody's catching up so that you continue to, do you agree with that? Because that's,
I go further. When I look at competition, I don't look at competition as Austin Okere. So if I were at school and I was going to compete with Murdo Hall, I would think like Kenny would think. I'll say, okay, I'm Kenny. So Kenny will see this person starting in school. What will Kenny do? So once I know competition, by not thinking like him, but being him, I can immediately see how I can counteract. Yes, keep a corner eye on the competition. I don't react because if you keep looking left and right, I think you lose some seconds in your race.
Yeah.
If I want to look at competition, then I go into their head and act like them. Then I get their next.
Thank you so much, Mr. Austin. Thank you so much. We just can't even thank you enough. It's been amazing. I just want to tell the audience we're rounding up now. Tomorrow is the last day. Yours truly, will be taking I'll be on the hot seat tomorrow. I'll be sharing, by the grace of God, from my experience, from law to education, my experience in the social sector, in the third sector, in leadership, because leadership cuts across industries. I will be taking us through step by step, just my story and also a bit of training. I love to train, a bit of training and just linking my life with very important strategies we must know to run successful businesses. So I'll be here tomorrow by God's grace. Let us end on a very strong note. Make sure you come, invite people, to be here as well. I want to round up with a short video because something we've been talking about a lot is resilience, persistence. And honestly, there's this video I use and it talks about persistence. And I just want to round up with this video. Please bear with me. Honestly, I want us to watch it. I want us to show it to our children, staff, and everybody. It's just such, there's so many lessons in it about perseverance and persistence. Right. Okay.
Nothing can take the place of it. There's no substitute. There's no replacement for it.
For persistence.
Persistence. It's a word that holds so much power. Persistence, to set a goal, to have a dream, and to not stop until you achieve what you want. Persistence is a quality of winners. I believe it's within all of us. And if it's within all of us, it must be within you. Nothing great can be achieved without persistence, because nothing great comes to those who quit. Things get hard. The will to persist through challenges, the strength to persevere in hard times. That is what will carry you from the bottom to the top, from no way to finding them. Not many people have persistence, and that is why not many people have the life they want. These days, most people are looking for a shortcut, the new secret sauce, the next get-rich-quick scheme, or the next super secret ingredient. But truth be told, the secret is to get started, keep going, and never stop. Not through success, and absolutely never through failure or challenges. That is exactly when you must persist.
We all want fast success, but greatness, it takes time. You can't rush greatness. You have to put in the time. If you're not willing to put in the time, you don't deserve the rewards. If you are willing to go the distance, if you are willing to keep working, if you're willing to keep improving, and you keep moving forward, you will eventually get your rewards. It is really that simple. Set your targets and keep moving forward. Just don't ever stop.
Read the stories of any great entrepreneur, inventor, sports person. They all have one thing in common: persistence. They stayed in the game longer than their competitors. They refused to accept temporary defeat as permanent failure. They kept going no matter what. And in the end, they got their rewards.
Life, it's a journey, a beautiful journey, but a tough journey. It can be heaven or it can be hell. And a lot of people would claim it as hell. If you're one of those people, you can climb out of that hell. And the first place to start is by changing your own mentality. That might not be what you want to hear, but it is the only thing that is going to give you a greater quality life. When you have strong goals and your mentality is strong, you can face more. You can take more. You will persist more. And because of all of that, you will win more and enjoy life more. Never stop moving forward. Never. Obstacles, challenges, temporary defeat, whatever comes, keep going. No, that's the only way to fail is to quit. Persist, and eventually you will win. You must stop. You must give up. Commit to yourself. Will the journey be difficult? Yes. Will you stop? No. Will you feel like quitting? Yes. Will you quit? If your goals mean something to you, so make goals so powerful that it makes it impossible for you to give up. Goals so powerful when the world is against you, friends are against you, even you might be against you. You will dig deep and persist through anything. You don't need talent. You don't need to be the best. You don't need to be the smartest. You might even start at a disadvantage. But if you are so committed to your goals that you will persist through anything, guarantee you, eventually, one day you will come out on top, and yes, it will be worth it. If you persist, something will give. If you persist, things will eventually go your way. Most people don't go the distance. You have to be willing to go the distance.
It may take you years to get where you want to go. Most people are not committed for years. They're barely committed for 5 minutes. I don't know about you, but I think it's better to trade a few years of struggle for a lifetime of pride.
Set your goals, get going, and do not stop. You say you want it. You have to put in the long hours. You have to put in the overtime. Go the extra mile, the extra step, the late nights, the sleepless nights, the hard times, the impossible times. Those are the tests set for you to prove you deserve this.
Life is going to test you. It's going to throw everything your way. I think these are the things sent to see if you really want what you say you want. Not everybody is willing to give it their all to get what they want. The majority will quit at any sign of resistance.
You have to be in an uncommon group of people that know what they want and will not stop until they get it. What can stop the unstoppable? Tell me, what can stop the unstoppable? Nothing. Create an unstoppable version of you. A life so meaningful. Goals so powerful. You cannot and will not be stopped. Not every day will go well. Not everything you try will work. You won't always knock it out the park. And you'll probably fail more times than you succeed. But what would happen if you set your goals and targets and just didn't ever stop moving forward, moving towards them? Just think about what you could achieve if you always made that extra effort, sent that extra email, put in the extra work, worked overtime, did an extra set, an extra rep, the extra mile. How good would your life be now if you decided 10 years ago to always do extra? No point crying about that now. Don't look back in another 10 years and wish you did extra. Don't look back in 1 year and wish you persisted through challenges. Set your goals now and write a commitment to yourself. I will persist until I get this goal. I will not stop under any circumstances until I find a way to make my goal my reality. Yes, there are people that may be more talented than you, people that have more money, more opportunity, more support, more help, more ability, more everything. But persistence will be your equalizer, your secret weapon. You have it within you. You are special and you have it within. Keep moving forward.
Thank you all for watching that. Each time I watch that, it makes me almost emotional. I'm going to round up by saying, do not give up. We've all shared our stories, and I'm really looking forward to sharing mine tomorrow. And I want to thank Mr. Okere once again. Austin, thank you so very much. Can we all just give him the claps in the chat as we round up? Thank you. Yes, I can see all the claps. All the claps. Thank you. People are saying thank you. Thank you so much. God bless you, and the Lord to continue to prosper CWG PLC in Jesus' name. Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow. Bye. Bye.